Chapter 1. You are listening at FameTV.info. Translator. Endless Fantasy Translation Editor. Endless Fantasy Translation. Your fireball spell has been upgraded by 100% after learning the basics of fire magic and comprehending the profound meaning of fire. Your fireball spell has been upgraded to Grand Fireball Spell after 3 days of hard work. Marcus had just finished showering when he heard a voice in his mind. As soon as the voice finished speaking, Marcus's entire body burned hot, as if his entire body had turned into lava. The pain was excruciating. The surrounding pools of water had somehow evaporated one after another. After a long time, the pain dissipated and everything returned to normal except for the fact that the water pools around him had all dried up. Marcus could feel that his magic powers had increased. Without waiting for another second, he silently chanted an incantation in his heart and circulated his magic power. A large orangish-yellow fireball suddenly shot out from his palm. Apart from its form having grown, the temperature had also increased. Based on what his teacher had taught him previously, his power should have reached the top of the magic apprentice class. Marcus once again used his magic to extinguish the fireball. 5 days ago, he had obtained this system. At first, he did not pay much attention to it. He thought that it was a hallucination as a result of overworking. He had not expected to actually obtain a system. What's more, this system allowed him to automatically improve the magic he learned, all on its own. This was unbelievable. Marcus suppressed the excitement in his heart and wanted to carefully confirm his own powers, so he asked, "System, do you have a personal interface?" Suddenly, a light blue screen appeared in his mind. Host. Marcus Realm. Level 1 Apprentice Mage Skills, Fireball Spell. Level 2, Progress 30%. The information on the system interface was very simple and brief. Truth be told, Marcus only knew this type of magic. There was a rule in the Ivy League Academy: those who had not yet become apprentice mages could only be considered auditing students. Therefore, they could only choose one type of magic. Only after becoming an apprentice mage could one be considered an official student of the academy and continue to learn the next type of magic. Because he could only practice one type of magic, and there were not enough cultivation resources, Marcus had never broken through to become an apprentice mage before this. Marcus heaved a sigh of relief. The Ivy League Academy also had a particularly strict rule. All auditing students who enrolled in the academy would have to successfully become an apprentice mage within 2 years. Those who failed to do so would be expelled from the academy. There was only half a month left on Marcus's 2-year countdown. Fortunately, this system appeared in the nick of time. Otherwise, Marcus definitely would not have been able to advance to the next level as an apprentice mage. Without a moment of hesitation, Marcus headed straight to the academy's office. After becoming an apprentice mage, he needed to go to the academy's office to get his student ID and badge. This meant that he was now an official student recognized by the academy. With this, he continued to stay in the academy and continue to study and become stronger. The path was quiet as Marcus passed through the garden and arrived at a building. The ancient bell on the building corresponded with the other bell on the opposite teaching building. This was the teaching area where students would naturally stay away from if there was nothing important that required them to be here. It was a serious and inviolable place. Only apprentice mages, advanced mages, and grand mages would come here to be certified. There was no one else that came here to be certified today. Marcus did not think too much about when he could become a powerful mage. His only focus right now was to continue staying here in this academy. Marcus entered the building, walked to the deepest part of the 3rd floor, and knocked on the heavy door. "Please come in." An easy-going voice came from inside. Marcus gently opened the door and walked in. He said respectfully, "Dean, my name is Marcus. I've just advanced to the next level as an apprentice mage today." Put your hand on that test stone." The dean stopped going through the test papers in front of him. He pinched his forehead, shook his head, and sighed. Marcus, who had studied here for nearly 2 years, could tell that the dean was obviously upset and angry. "Oh, Marcus." The dean looked up and saw that it was the student who had often asked him questions back then. "I remember that you were merely a level 5 apprentice last month. It's only been some time since I last saw you. yet you've improved so much within such a short period of time. The dean noticed that the stone Marcus touched turned from gray to white, signaling the mark of an apprentice mage. Marcus was about to respond, but the dean quickly used magic to bind his hand in place. Although Marcus was a little surprised, he knew that the dean suspected that he had used black magic to take a shortcut. After a flash of holy light, everything went back to normal. The dean finally let out a sigh of relief and looked at Marcus with admiration in his eyes. "You've finally made it, kid." "Hee, sir, you've taught me well." Marcus smiled. "Not bad. You're a worthy student." The dean gave him a student badge and a student ID. The badge represented that he was an official student. When he flashed the student ID at the academy, he could enter any building. Most importantly, Marcus could go to the library. The library was a place that one could only enter after advancing as an apprentice mage. Marcus's goal was to learn more magic and to become more powerful. After saying goodbye to the dean, Marcus walked out of the teaching area and went to the library. In the past, he had been very envious of other students for being able to enter the library to study. Now, so could he. At the thought of this, Marcus became very excited. But there's still a long way to go, Marcus thought as he took a firm step forward. Previously, he had a dream to become more powerful and become a grand mage one day. As a grand mage, not only would he command respect everywhere, he could also participate in many major events in the academy. Most importantly, he would be able to restore the glory of his family. Looking back on the past, what Marcus's parents had hoped for the most was that they would be able to live a stable life. However, after experiencing the cruelty of reality, Marcus finally understood above all life is magic. 1 step, 2 steps. Marcus took heavy and respectful steps as he ascended the stairs of the main entrance of the library. Solemn, elegant, and holy, these were the words that came up in Marcus's mind when he first came to the library. In the past, when Marcus had swept the floor to earn his tuition fees, he could only sneak a few glances at this place. Now, he could finally stand at the doorway and study it carefully. "Young man, are you an apprentice? Auditing students aren't welcome here." An old voice came from behind Marcus. Marcus looked behind him. It was an old, white-haired man with a broom in his hand, wearing a solemn expression. He was the gatekeeper who was also a retired teacher. Regardless of age, seniority, and strength were displayed here. Point 1 had to be respectful to the teacher. Marcus took out his student ID and said to him respectfully, "Old man, I'm sorry for being rude and for not reporting to you. I'm an apprentice mage now, so I can enter the library." The gatekeeper flipped through the student ID and looked at Marcus. Then, he patted him and said in a serious tone, "You may not remember me, but I still remember you. I remember seeing you back when you first enrolled into this academy. I saw you sweeping through the fields like a lackey. I didn't expect you to become an official student today." Marcus also looked at him and seemed to recognize him. "Grandpa, it's you." "Sigh, let's not reminisce about the past. Young man, quickly go on into the library." The gatekeeper smiled. "The library will close in 3 hours, hurry up, go in and take a look. Don't forget, according to your level, you can only pick 2 books to read. That's the academy's rule, but this is also for your own good. After all, if you are too eager to succeed, you will go mad, and if you are too serious, your body will explode and you will die." Marcus quickly nodded and prepared to enter the doorway. "Young man, I still hope that you can pay attention to your body while training hard," the old man, who was guarding the door, said again. "After all, just focusing on hard work won't do you any good. Magic flows through your body. How will you practice magic if your body is ruined? Don't you agree with me?" Marcus looked at the old man's receding hairline and could not help but smile in his heart. However, he quickly thanked him for his concern. "Thank you, sir. I will remember your piece of advice." It turned out that the old man was quite kind and friendly, so Marcus was slightly touched. He cheered himself on in his heart, "I must become a great wizard." The door opened and then closed. Listen to the full novel at FameTV.info, direct link in the description.